Hello friends, I have some news. I've learned today that Greg Doucette is apparently gone off TRT to heal his triceps, which they require some more discussion for sure. So let's do a little bit of history on this subject briefly. I've been following, as you guys know, this Greg Doucette TRT thing for a year or something like that. Since whenever I started my channel, because once I started watching his videos, again, it had been a year and a half or so ago since I'd seen his videos, I noticed that he was saying that he was on testosterone replacement therapy. Of course, I found this odd. Initially, I thought maybe he was on growth hormone, testosterone replacement therapy, aromatase inhibitors, stuff like that, and that would make sense to me. If somebody had been very muscular for a long time, taken a lot of androgens, he's a power lifter with records, or one record, I don't know, maybe more than one record. The point is, he's a strong guy and he was big for a long time. When you're big for a long time and you go down to testosterone replacement therapy and you don't have a sudden drop, total drop in your androgens, and don't stay that way for a long time, say you go to TRT for 4 months, you'll retain a lot of size. If you stay on TRT for a year and a half, you're gonna lose all the size that you once had when you were very big. You're not gonna be like somebody that's entirely natural, but you're not gonna look that enhanced. You might have a little bit more definition than somebody else that was never that big before, and you may be stronger, but you're not gonna be bigger. Now, Greg wasn't that much bigger though. He did get smaller over time, not as much smaller as I would have thought, but I wasn't following closely. I don't know how many months it is. What really got to me though was this. On TRT, when you're just taking testosterone, just 140 milligrams of natural testosterone, and you're not losing that much muscle 6 months down the line. Now, you lost initially 3 months after your cycle. You lost quite a bit of muscle, which is normal. But then you maintained a super physiologic level of muscle for a year or whatever like that. That's one thing. But what really got to me was after that, his skin was still very thin, just like what growth hormone does to you. I know I'm someone who's used growth hormone, who's studied it as long as Greg Doucette and longer, probably. And I know what growth hormone looks like when you take it. It makes your skin thin. It makes your skin wrap around your muscle in a slightly different way. It is the thing you would want to do if you wore skimpy little t-shirts on your YouTube channel to use your muscle to sell your product. You would want your muscle to look beautiful. Why would you not take a little 2 units of growth hormone just to sell a little bit more product, since you are commercially driven, and since you've said, Greg Doucette, in your own videos, that looking good on camera is like having a PhD on YouTube. So Greg knows this. We know he knows this. We know growth hormone does that. And then we see Greg with this skin that looks like it's been touched by growth hormone. But I have a screenshot that you'll see if you go to my Instagram. So my Instagram page has stories that are saved into sections. They're like the saved stories. One is called The Fakest Natty. It's about Greg Doucette. If you go there, you'll see a screenshot of Greg Doucette on Instagram saying, I take exactly 140 milligrams of testosterone and 0 else. Which is interesting because it takes another level. Not only is he not taking growth hormone and his skin looks like that, which, by the way, even African Americans that have wonderful skin fitting on their beautifully 3D muscle, often this is a stereotype, they don't get that. But a white guy has it, that's okay, fine. But also, he's not even taking an aromatase inhibitor. He's letting all of that testosterone convert, and yet his skin is dry. He seems to have lost a bit of hair, and now it's a little bit less visible. I think he may be putting something in his hair. But you could notice a while his hair was dry, his skin is dry, his skin is paper thin. He's not on growth hormone. He's not on aromatase inhibitor. Does he not aromatize? So, there was a bunch of things here, but now the issue becomes, he suddenly changed. I didn't know about this until we just talked about him randomly on the Mike Dolce interview, and he came and made comments on the video. So I received some messages from people, and I discovered that she's seen his video. He commented. He said, "I lost a lot of size. You don't notice that I'm now natural?" I looked at his video and I said, "Oh, this guy could really be natural now." Absolutely, absolutely, no question about that. But I don't think he was on TRT 3 months ago. Well, haven't watched his recent videos. 5 months ago. And I certainly don't think he wasn't on growth hormone. And I certainly don't think he wasn't on an AI. And I certainly don't think he was on 140 milligrams. Some people here are going to comment, "Oh, he used to use Primo." Even then, but if he was still using Primo, that would make sense. But not, he used to use Primo 2 years ago, and then he was on 140 for a year, and this is how he looks. Or, not now, but 4 months ago, that's how he looks. Sorry, it's a little confusing because he's going to play with the time like he did in the comment section and try to make it murky and stuff like that. But anyway, basically, the interesting thing now is so I saw his recent videos, he does look natural, of course. But he says, apparently, that it's because he went off TRT. He was on TRT. And that's how he was before with the paper thin skin. And now he went off TRT, lost all this muscle from going from 140 to 0 because he needs to heal his tricep because a doctor has told him to. Now, I want to tell you guys a little bit about how testosterone affects the healing. Now, I'm thinking, is it a muscle? Is he trying to heal his tricep muscle? If so, number one, androgenic signaling and androgens heal muscle. They increase angiogenesis, which is the birth of new blood vessels, which is the most important thing in muscle healing. And they generally heal muscles. There's absolutely no question about that. In fact, if he was on 140 milligrams, he tore a muscle, probably should increase it to 400 milligrams, right? If he wasn't already on that. But that's what he would do there. So we know that testosterone is good for the muscle. The question is it bad for his tendon? Does he have a tendon or connective tissue that's the issue? Well, you know, that's quite interesting. When I was younger, we thought that androgens, there was a rumor floating around the boards that androgens harmed this, well, we thought that some androgens improved the synthesis of collagen, and we thought that some harmed the integrity of joints. It turns out actually that the relationship is quite a bit more complicated than that. I'm going to summarize it for you now, and then I'm going to explain the science behind it after. The summary is that very high doses of androgens could be harmful for your connective tissue. So if Greg Doucette is actually on 400 milligrams of TRT, yes, he'd like to go down to TRT from 400 to 140, right? That's what he would want to do. But physiologic levels, it's not clear if they're helpful or harmful. And the reason why is this. Just to understand a little bit about the biology of collagen, which is what forms these tendons and connective tissue. Collagen is formed, the synthesis of collagen is initiated by growth factors like IGF-1, which, by the way, testosterone increases. These growth factors increase the activity of what are called fibroblasts, which then synthesize collagen. Simple. That's how it's synthesized. How it's removed, how collagen is degraded, is by something called matrix metalloproteases, which are called MMPs. Or there's another name called like matrix. Anyway, MMPs, what they do is they degrade the collagen. The problem with testosterone is that it increases the activity of the MMPs. So it increases the degradation of collagen. But the issue is not as simple as that. The reason why? There's another hormone we have to account for. It's called relaxin. Relaxin, you may recall from my earlier video about bodybuilders' abs splitting. The reason their abs are splitting is because of the hormone relaxin, which is causing that collagen matrix to reconfigure itself and spread. Relaxin is a hormone that actually degrades collagen also. It increases the activity of MMPs. But the funny thing is, testosterone inhibits the activity of the relaxin receptor. So testosterone increases MMPs, then decreases them via relaxin. So there's a complex relationship, and it's not very clear at physiologic levels. I mean, there's a lot of studies, it's not so clear. So if Greg Doucette's doctor told him to get off 140 milligrams to heal his tendon, the doctor, I mean, it's not malpractice, but he would be insane, weird, something's wrong with him. And then it would also call into question all of Greg's knowledge, which is of course already called into question all the time. But it would, I mean, the guy would, you can't Google Scholar, you can't read. Not only that, but we haven't even accounted, what I mean by you can't Google Scholar, you can't read, to find out that physiologic levels, 140 milligrams is not bad for your tendon. We don't know it's bad, at least. But not only that, we haven't accounted for another factor which makes it even more nonsensical, which is the fact that if you go off 140 milligrams of testosterone, which means you were really on TRT, and you just go off, well, now you've really harmed your tendons. When you do that, oxidative stress increases in the body, tumor necrosis factor alpha increases in the body, and the connective tissue gets damaged quicker and quicker. And I'll include probably a citation also to show you guys that also. So, the point is, if he really was on TRT and he went off TRT, it would harm his tendon more. And so the whole story makes absolutely no sense.